Hello and welcome to Rebel Unicorn Crafts. Today, let me give you a few tips on how to clean up once you're finished painting for the day. And the good news with watercolor is that it can actually be a lot more simple than you might think. There aren't necessarily hard and fast rules on how to do this, so if you have a way that you find better, that's totally fine. But I do know that when I got started, this was something I had some questions about, and I had to figure it out through trial and error, so I figure I might as well share and also maybe simplify your life a little bit. Let's start with what to do with the paints. If you're a messy painter like me and you switch between colors and you get them all kind of dirty, that's fine if you don't mind coming back to some colors on other ones. But if you like to do a little bit of a cleanup, now is the perfect time to do that because you've already got some dirty water and everything's dirty anyways. So all you really need to do is take a damp brush and swirl it around in those, pick up a little bit of that top layer of pigment that's kind of been mixed in with everything else, and repeat that until you are happy. Still talking about your paint palette itself, when you're looking at the different colors, once you have those cleaned up, if you want to do that, then you're going to probably also have some areas in wells, or also maybe you've got a separate mixing well where you mixed up some colors. And there are a few different ways to handle this. One, you can let it dry out, and then the next day, as you can see, here's a different one of my palettes. Just by adding a little bit of water into it, I am able to refresh that and reuse that color there, so that's a way you can save paint, or even come back to a project and already have your pre-mixed colors ready to go for the next day, just add water. Or you can take whatever rag or paper towel that you are using and just go ahead, since it's already dirty, spray some extra water in there and wipe it out. In the comments, let me know if you are a painter that likes to leave all the colors in there, or if you clean things up so you've got a fresh slate to start on the next day. I tend to leave things because I don't like to waste the paint. If you choose not to clean up any of your palette, that's totally fine. The main thing that I want you to do, and the most important thing, is to leave it open at least for a little bit until those colors dry out, because we want to dry those out completely before closing it. That's going to keep the pans in the best shape, and also if you live in a humid environment that's prone to mold and things like that, that's going to increase your chances of getting mold. I live in Colorado and my chances of that are much lower, but I do still try to practice this. Next up, what to do with the paper towel if you haven't already used it, or your rag, whatever it is. First thing is, it's going to actually be helpful in cleaning off our brush, so we'll need that in a minute. But you can actually, if you like to reuse things, these paper towels are great to reuse. I usually let mine dry out and then reuse them multiple times when I'm not kind of filming a nice video where I want everything to look nice. They still absorb quite a bit. The colors don't come off of it unless you have like huge chunks of color on the paper towel. So you can definitely get multiple uses out of these paper towels if you like to reuse. The most important thing in your cleanup is making sure that you leave your watercolor brush in good condition. With things like oil and acrylic, you're going to need specialty things to actually fully clean out those bristles, but I find that the way that I've been able to keep some of my brushes for years at a time and keep them good is by not leaving them in the water, so I don't bend that tip, and whenever I am finished, I will just thoroughly rinse off my brush, really get in between all those different bristles, and then I will just kind of twirl it on the paper towel to reform that nice point and leave it to dry flat. Here's another one of my brushes that I did this same thing to, and then it's dried overnight. When we come back to it, it's going to look a little bit crunchy, but it has a nice tip, and once we re-wet it, it is ready to go. You don't really need to treat these watercolor brushes with much of anything unless you really need to kind of do some damage repair. As far as your dirty water, you can go ahead and toss that. If you're working with some sort of paint that you know has heavy metals or something that might be toxic for the water supply, you might want to look into ways to sustainably dump out that water. There are a bunch of different options. One good option is to just let it evaporate most of the way out, and then you can just use a rag or paper towel, something you were going to toss anyways, and wipe out that sediment that's going to be at the bottom of that dirty water. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments if you have suggestions for how to sustainably dispose of the dirty water, and I hope that you have a magically creative day.